season.
Oh my gosh. Right. It
I would
is.
say it's fall, but we don't really get fall weather yet. So
Yeah. And I love fall. That's my favorite. And we don't get a lot of fall here at all, really.
no.
But that's okay. I love everything that's going on right now with the just fall stuff, Halloween and Thanksgiving coming up and all that kind of stuff. I love that.
Good time of year.
Yeah, and I can see it on your shirt.
My bougie.
You're already sporting the
I'm ready.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't got any of that out
today?
Well, I thought we would talk about some. I was looking up some statistics on divorce, and because I personally think it's a big issue. It's a big problem, I guess. I mean, it is whenever, to me, especially, even fatherless homes and things like that. I just think divorce is a big problem for us. And to me, I think what I'm concerned about is that people don't take it as serious and believe that it is as important as it is.
I agree.
So I looked up some statistics and I thought I would share them with you.
Great.
And we can see what kind of conversation that sparks.
Perfect.
So 40 to 50% of first marriages end in divorce.
Wow.
That's high, I think.
Very.
But 60 to 67% of second marriages end in divorce.
Wow.
Right?
Now that's really high. Wow.
I kind of would have thought of that to be backwards. Like,
yes.
I don't know. And one thing is, this, I guess, doesn't surprise me. 90% of divorces are initiated by the woman.
Oh, shit. What are we doing wrong, ladies?
Right? Right. So now, I have a list of the causes of divorce. And then I have another list of what was classified as surprising causes. So I'm going to read those and see what you think about that. So, causes of divorce. Number 1, lack of commitment.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Me either. To me, that kind of covers all of it, if you ask me.
I agree.
Second is infidelity.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
No.
I thought this was kind of weird. Third one is arguing, which I would guess that would go without saying, but
yeah, that's normal human nature to argue.
I was okay. This one, marrying too young.
I get that.
Yep. Absolutely. Unrealistic expectations. Again, that kind of goes along with all of it, I think. Financial problems. I would think that would have been closer to number 1.
I agree with you. And they've always said that.
That's what I thought too. I was kind of surprised when I got this.
Yeah.
And then lack of preparation. Well, again, I think for me, I'm kind of feeling like all of that comes down to lack of commitment, because all of those things are things that you actually could work on. I mean, infidelity might be a little harder depending on the situation of that. You know, are you a serial infidelator? If that's even a word. No, I don't know. I don't know. You're right. Like, but actually everything can be worked on no matter what, to me.
I agree with you. Yeah, I
Everything.
agree with you. And the only thing is the marrying young, if you look back in the day, like our grandparents married young, but things were so different back then than they are today. And the maturity level, you know, I think
Right.
it's a big, I think that's why people marrying, they're so, and not everybody, but they're so quick to just give up. It's easier to just walk away instead
Yeah.
of working, you know, on the issues.
That's 100% what I think. Like I said, I don't believe that there's a single thing that you couldn't work on.
No.
I don't believe that. If you are committed enough, and I realize both people have to be committed to that. You can't just have one. And a lot of times that's what you do have.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, everything, that's been my opinion. And I know in my first marriage, I was 100% not going to be divorced. I was not. And I got married very young.
Mm-hmm.
But I was determined to not be divorced. And that's what made it last as long as it did. And, you know, you finally realize, you know, to me, it's like I was a failure by not being able to make it work. Also, I wanted the family together. And even when you realize that you probably shouldn't have gotten married, probably should have done this to begin with, but you did. That's the way I saw it. You know, this wasn't a great idea, but I did it, and I'm going to make it work. When you have a family, to me, it's too big. And something I used to think about a lot in my first marriage was, you know, the thought of giving up. You know, I heard somebody say one time, if you saw somebody trying to steal your car, you would try to stop them. You wouldn't just sit there and let them do it. So why would you let them try to take your family?
Right.
When that should be.
I too was married young, very young. I mean, I bought my first house when I was 19. We were married and kids. And that was the thing with me too, was I tried to make it work for so long because, like you said, you didn't want to break up your family. But I have to be honest, going into it, I really didn't want to marry him. But we did have a kid, and I just thought, okay, I'm going to make this work. But there's one thing that I don't believe can be worked on in a marriage, and that's physical abuse. And he was physically abusive. And unless he was willing to go get help and change, there was nothing I could do. So in some instances, you know, obviously you can't work on it. But I agree with you. Commitment to me covers everything that you read.
Right.
How committed are you?
And even with the physical abuse, I think for sure the person that's being abused should not put up with it.
Right.
But that's where it comes in with the abuser to whatever, you know, fix it.
Right.
What is wrong? What's happening here? And maybe that can't be fixed. I don't know. You know, I had some physical abuse in my first marriage. Not a lot. It wasn't regular. And that's why, and it was never, the kids were never abused, nothing like that. So to me, it was so irregular that it didn't seem like it was that big of a problem. I had a ton of the infidelity. That was nonstop. It was continuous through the whole time. But yeah, I mean, putting up with being physically abused, that can't be okay.
No.
That can't be.
And then in my situation, it did move to my child. And so that's when I walked away. There was no fixing anything that I was done.
No.
You're not going to hurt my children. So then that's when I walked away. And he never changed. So, sometimes it is best to just walk away.
Oh, it really is. And I hate to say that because I hate seeing divorce. I don't like it.
Same.
And I mean, I was married 19 years, my first marriage. Wow. Yeah. And I knew it was a mistake when I did it. I pretty much knew, like, I really didn't know until that day. All of a sudden I was like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this. This isn't actually a good thing. But again, well, I was pregnant. And this is what you're doing.
Right.
This is just what you're doing. And I do believe, I'm not saying I didn't have faults. I know I did. Of course I did. Everybody does. It's never one person. But I really, truly did try really, really hard. And actually, even towards the end, when I really knew that this is really just, infidelity is never going to stop, that kind of stuff, and that's what's sad is I really got to where I just didn't care about that, And I honestly remember one day, I totally remember saying this to myself. Like, it was so dumb. I thought, this is never going to be healthy. This is never going to be good. But you know what? Someday, I feel like maybe someday we'll be good grandparents. Like, we will be, really. So, I'm very happy. I have no regrets that I stayed as long as I did, which I probably should not have, but I have no regrets about that.
Right.
But I'm very happy that I did. And we both are, better. I mean, he married 3 more times. He now has a great one who I am very close to, but I actually have a very, very healthy marriage now. And I didn't even know that they were a thing. I honestly thought that everybody was like me.
Right. No, I agree with you. Because I have a very healthy marriage too, 23 years, and same.
And
I thought they existed. Right.
I thought every man cheats. That's just a thing, right? Like, and they cheat a lot, probably,
Right.
I knew some friends that I felt like, I knew some friends that I feel like it was a healthy, they got along better than we did or whatever. And in my family, my grandparents were married forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see a lot of healthy marriages, quite honestly. And we moved away at 19. We moved away from home in the military. And so I just saw other ones. And I did see a lot of what was happening with me going on. So I honestly did not believe the marriage I have today. I did not believe those existed. I really did not believe that. Are you there?
Yep.
Oh, no. So, but I am very happy that I got divorced. I'm very happy that I got remarried. And I do wish that people would put more into it. I do believe today people don't put as much into almost anything. People are not that committed to anything really. Life is just, let's do this, let's have fun, I think there's a lot of that. I don't like something, I'm out. Just like that.
And the thing is with marriage, you always have to put effort into your marriage. That never goes away. That work and that effort, that never goes away. It is not, if in order for your marriage to stay happy and healthy, and you always have to put work in, always. I mean, and it can be little stuff, but like date nights and making time for each other when, you are so busy with jobs and grandkids and kids and all of that. You have to make time for each other, because otherwise it does kind of go on the back burner. And I see that a lot with people who have kids and their whole lives are around these kids and going to football practice and taking them here and dance classes and this and that. And then the kids grow up and they move out, and you and your spouse don't even know each other anymore.
Yeah.
Because all of that hustle and bustle's gone, and you didn't make time for each other. And so I've seen a lot of older people get divorces because by the time their kids grow up and move out, they don't even know each other anymore. So marriage is not easy, but it's so worth it.
No, I totally agree with that. I absolutely, like you said, this marriage is so incredibly different.
Right.
But yes, you still have to, I mean, I think about things even like, on the weekend, whenever I'm, doing housework, doing chores, this and that. And every once in a while, my husband will say, "Hey, I'm going to run to Lowe's. Do you want to come with?" And I'll be like, "No, I'm, in the middle of stuff." And then every once in a while I'll be like, "Just go. Why wouldn't you?"
I do the same. Yes.
And because I think, why not? Why? And it's silly that, I'm happy that he wants me to go. I should be, because really what happens whenever they don't want you to,
Right.
That's not a good thing. So why should I be that person when it's like, really, this stuff can wait a second?
Yes.
And I find us at Lowe's and Home Depot holding hands and, after 17 years and, our ages. And what happens then? It's like, hey, you want to go grab lunch or something, whatever, right? Just spending time together. You really have to put forth the effort. And that I did want to tell you, I found this, I thought was kind of funny. 7 surprising causes of divorce.
Okay.
I think the other ones covered it. And again, we agree that the commitment part kind of covers all of it.
For sure.
But this was like, okay. So number 1, substance abuse. I could see that. And I could see that being one of somebody being very supportive up to a point.
Right. I don't see that as surprising.
No.
Being a cause for divorce at all.
But I feel like, now I'm considering this as like drugs, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like I have a 0 tolerance for that. Not down with that at all. I guess, and that's why I guess you could be supportive, but I mean, only to a certain degree, really.
It goes back to commitment. How committed are you?
That's what I know. In my head, I'm like, okay, what would I? Because my first thought is absolutely not. I am out right now.
Yeah, that's easy for us to say. You know what I mean?
And circumstance too, right? Like, I mean, I know right now people get, they're not just people who would casually use drugs and all of a sudden they get addicted from something. I think that probably trying to be supportive and help is probably a really good idea. I don't know if how far I'm committed to that. And especially at my age, I really could not.
Yeah, it's harder. Yeah, I get that.
Like, and to me, that is just so, oh, I don't know. Okay, that's a whole nother discussion. Sorry. Anyway, another one, gambling addiction.
Oh, that's an easy walk away. For me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not trying to be homeless.
Nope. It's funny because that's what popped in my head is I've heard stories, and not people I know personally, but
right.
of people having gambling addictions and losing their house and their kids and their whole family have nowhere to live. Yeah, no.
I can't.
These are not surprising.
What? Right?
I'm waiting for a shocker.
Okay. Okay. This is kind of funny. Heavy social media use.
Well, everybody's getting divorced nowadays because even the news is on social media. So,
right. Well, that's just it. Nobody even watches a television anymore. I mean, we put ours on to some kind of pet thing and keep it there and mute. I don't even put it on, but yeah, you're right. Everything is social media.
Yeah. So next year we're going to see the numbers go up in divorce.
Yeah, it's only getting worse, I think. But I guess maybe that would depend on in what aspect, right? Like, because I'm listening to news, I'm not posting everything I do online.
No, but at the same time, I think it's more of people are spending more times with their faces and their phones. You know, you see people out to dinner, couples out to dinner, and they're on their phones. They're not talking. They're not socializing with each other. They're both on their, so I think it's more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Step away, people. If you go to dinner with your husband or boyfriend, leave your phone in the car. Leave it in your purse.
Right. Yeah, and everybody has gotten bad about, to me, the phone is, it's your camera, it's your TV, it's your watch.
Yeah. It's your lifeline. And if you leave the house without it, you feel naked.
Right.
That is so true. But I will say my husband and I are very good about that. When we do go to dinner, our phones do not come out.
Right. I'm trying to enjoy my meal and conversation and
exactly.
And people watch, I like to do that.
But that was a good one. That's a good one, Jackie, because that is so true.
You do, you see it. You watch people and you see this. Yeah. Okay. Lack of intimacy. I can see that. I feel like that's probably a big one. I feel like when kids are little too.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. Yeah, for sure.
You're tired.
Thank God I don't have little kids anymore. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I think that's also something that, you know what, I would bet that probably social media and things like that might have something to do with lack of intimacy.
For sure.
Yeah, that's my opinion. Communication breakdowns, that's not surprising. That's normal.
I was just going to say, I think communication is one of the number one things you need to have a good relationship.
Right. And that's very much along with the commitment, I think. Again, commitment's all of it, but commitment is intimacy, all of that.
Yeah.
And just going to go ahead and say, ladies, sometimes you just do that even if you don't really necessarily want to, even if you're tired, even if you are You know, I think that you have to put more of an effort into that at certain times. I think for females, and it's hard for us to turn everything off that's going on, you know, when the male could easily say, who cares about the dishes? Who cares? You know, they don't care if that shit gets done or not.
Right.
In our head, it's like, okay, I got that to do. I got that to do. I got that to do. You got to, not trying to tell you keep a dirty house, but every once in a while you got to say that can wait.
I so agree with that.
Just like taking that walk with your husband, going to Lowe's. You know, that is important. It is important.
Yeah.
I think. Okay, I don't know. This is weird. Failing to respond to bids of attention.
Okay, I get that.
Okay, I was going to say.
I actually get that a lot because when my kids were little and I was so tired from football and I was the PTO mom and all of that. And when he would try to give me attention, I was too tired. So I do understand that. That's kind of back to what you said. Leave the dishes and just spend the time. So I get that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That is very true. Yeah. And sometimes even when you know they're trying to get your attention and you are pretending you don't notice it.
Right. No, I get that a lot. That one, yep.
Yeah, I guess now that, yeah, we got to try not to do that. We got to try to, you know,
yeah.
I mean, like you said in the last video, you know, we're not promised tomorrow.
Nope.
Make the most of today. Okay, this one, okay, I don't know. The last one says, lavish, costly weddings, engagement rings. Okay. I guess I could see you're kind of, if you went into debt for those things, I could see that being. Mm-hmm.
That goes back to the finances and, you know, what we talked about earlier. Yeah, you don't want to start a marriage in debt because you wanted this big, beautiful ring. Upgrade it every 10 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you do have the money. Yeah, I do agree with that because you definitely don't want to start a marriage in debt.
Yeah, my first marriage, I got married with his mother's wedding band. And then we were married actually we were married a couple of years when I got an engagement ring. And then several years later, I got a bigger engagement ring. But yeah, we couldn't afford it. That would have been stupid for us to put money like that.
Right.
In the beginning. Yeah, I think that goes along with your age and things like that. And if you can't afford it.
I do. Yeah, I think that age does have a lot to do with that.
Right. Yeah. And as far as that goes, I know for sure that it's not hard to live within your means. You just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not. I've had almost little to nothing and been very happy.
I've said that same. I have had nothing and I have had, you know, a lot. And that doesn't make a marriage.
No. And that's what's funny. And in my first marriage, when we had no money was when we were the happiest. The more money we got, the very, very beginning of our marriage, we seriously, like, in the military, he brought home $600 a month. And that was, you know, rent, utilities, car payment, insurance. Like there was no money left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we filled up the tank on payday, got like $30 in groceries, and that was it. So we spent all of our time going to parks, just, you know, just go and walk the mall, never able to buy anything, like not even a soda, right? But just with the stroller, walking the mall. And I always remember that one time his mother came to visit and she called her boyfriend from our house. And she was staying at my grandmother-in-law's while she was there. But she had made a long distance call from our house. So she gave me $5 for whenever the bill came in or whatever. And to this day, I will never forget. My ex-husband, he was working swing shifts at the time. And he got home that night, and our oldest was just a few months old, our oldest daughter. And he got home that night, and I was like holding that $5, and he was like, "Where did you get that?" And
like it was $500.
Yes, it was so funny. And he was like, "Where did that come from?" I'm like, "I know, right?" It was so stupid. And we actually he went and bought a 6-pack, and we sat there and played Yahtzee and drank like 2 beers each. And it was like one of the funnest times we ever had our whole marriage. Seriously. Like,
I love that.
I know. And that kind of stuff, you know, not saying that to me though, the more money we made, the more opportunity it was for him to run amok and gave him. That's how it worked out for us. But you don't have to have a lot. You can be very happy. I know that's true. But you can and live within your means. You know what? You can't afford something, so you don't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that hard. Yeah,
So
then you got.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just mean you grow into a better car and a better, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have to have that. That's my thing. Whenever you buy that new car, whenever you can't afford it, you're setting yourself up to never being able to afford one. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, so what we're saying, ladies and gentlemen, is you don't need to get a divorce. You just need to have commitment.
Yep.
Lots of sex. Make time for each other. Doesn't cost a lot of money to have a fun night. Play some Yahtzee, spend some time together, and keep your faces out of your phones. And that's all the ways to have a healthy marriage.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that sounds good to me. I like that.
And this will go into our next video that we're going to be talking about blending families. So we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.